Brand New Day might be the best live-action Spidey movie, am I right? Is he cooking? Mr. JACETHEDON, what's your answer on that? What do you have to say in response?
Listen, I mean, if you said it was the best, I wouldn't argue. This movie's goated.
It's really good.
Some that have seen the movie would say even spectacular.
Is it superior, though? That's the question. Is it the
Ooh.
best? Is it the undeniable best Spider-Man live-action film? I'm not gonna lie, it's one of. It's definitely one of. I need to sit with it more before I can say it dethrones my absolute favorite, because I've been known to go into Spider-Man movies before, and then as time goes on, I find myself swaying a little bit lower on it, a little bit higher on it. This is one that I'm pretty confident I'm going to stay firm on how I feel about it, or my love for it will increase. I do not see my love for it decreasing by like any percentage. I got a text from Razor. He said, just make sure to tell me when you're ready to play. That way I don't get spoiled too. This man, Razor, hasn't seen the movie yet. Whack, whack. Everybody boo this man. Boo this man. That's the wrong one. That's a shame. I just have a bunch of stuff about the film to say. Well, please, by all means, say all you need to say about the movie. I'm excited to talk about it. To me it is, plus now it's my second favorite Spidey movie. First place to me will always be Into the Spider-Verse. Yeah, like, it's gonna be tough to eclipse those Spider-Verse movies. They're just like actual masterpieces. And a lot of the times, like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, a lot of the times when I talk about favorite Spidey movies, I leave the animation with the animation and I leave the live action with the live action. But, well, the main reason I say that is because it's kind of unfair. You know, the animated films are just, like, so good. It's kind of like, you know, they can get away with things that live action just can't achieve. Like, it's genuinely impossible. It's just completely different art form. But in terms of the live action stuff, this is towards the top, 100%.
I've seen it 2 times already. I went to go see
Two
it.
times.
Yeah, 2 times.
He
My
just like
second
me.
time. Yeah. So after seeing it a second time, it made me love it even more. There's some things in there that I caught the second time around that I didn't catch on my first watch. And I gotta say, like, this is a Spider-Man movie, like, to the core. Like, this feels like a Stan Lee. Like, if you were to pull out Stan Lee, and if you were to ask him, like, okay, how would we do a Spider-Man film in a way respecting what they did in the comics, but also kind of like modernizing it? This is how you would do it, I feel. And I think Destin Daniel Cretton did like a really good job directing this film. He had a vision. Him and Tom had a vision, and they knew what they wanted to do, and they just went in and they did it. So yeah, I mean, honestly, like I don't have any negatives about the movie.
Yeah.
I do wish we could have seen like more of the villains in the montage, but I think, with the world building that they did in this movie, it opens up an opportunity to bring those villains back if they want to.
Yeah, I'm kind of in a place with it because I keep saying, even people that love the movie, they're like, if I have to give it one critique, I would have liked to see more of the villains. I'm in a spot right now where I'm like, if we saw any more of the villains than we saw, or the amount that we saw in the film right now, I think we'd be reaching Spider-Man 3 TASM 2 levels of convoluted, right?
Yeah.
Because at least everything, this movie's stuffed. Like, there's a lot of stuff happening, there's a lot of moving pieces, but everything comes together to work in service. I'm messing with my mic a lot. Everything's coming together to work in service of the story of Peter Parker at the end of the day. And the villains that they used at the start do just that. They serve as a visual representation of the time that we've missed from the 4 to 5 years that takes place between this film and No Way Home. It's a testament to the amount of people that he's taken down. Sure, there may not be like some big story behind each and every one of these villains, but they just kind of serve their purpose. They're in and out. It's very brief, I know, but I feel like if they overstayed any more of their welcome, it kind of would have derailed what the movie was trying to get across to begin with, right? So I
Yeah.
feel like it wasn't necessarily a source of disappointment for me, because who's to say that, according to Tom Holland, they have this whole next trilogy planned out. Maybe there's no plans to use a boomerang or a tarantula in a like bigger story. So maybe since they know
Yeah.
that, they have that knowledge, they're like, hey, we're never going to use these characters in a more meaningful way. Why not just have them here as an Easter egg to be like, hey, they exist in the MCU. They exist in this world. Spider-Man has had an encounter with them before. We have no plans for them necessarily, but hey, at least we can give them some form of visual representation to show that, like, hey, here's what they would look like in this universe, off-screen encounters with Spider-Man, but we don't have plans for them, so we can kind of just use them in this way. That's how I took it. That's how I took it personally.
Yeah.
I've seen so many people now say the Home trilogy is basically the backstory, and No Way Home to Brand New Day is now getting into Spider-Man territory. Sort of, kind of, like, I get that too, but I don't like the cut and dry narrative that he's finally Spider-Man now, or he finally became Spider-Man in No Way Home. Right? I think that the best way to say it, at least for me, because I don't subscribe to that talking point, I just think that he's just now becoming your traditional Spider-Man. He's just now becoming, like, what people loved about Tobey Maguire. But to discredit what came before just seems like people doing that out of distaste for a different interpretation on the character versus him being true to the character in any form. That's how I take it. I think Homecoming is still one of the strongest Spider-Man films. You can find me on that. Don't care. Don't care. We can fight about it. And I'm not wavered on that opinion seeing Brand New Day. Some people were like, no, I know there are some Homecoming fans or the Home trilogy fans that saw Brand New Day and are like, oh, I see why you were complaining about the first three now. Or they're like, oh, we could have had this the whole time. Sure, like, I'm not going to complain. Like, imagine we went back in time and we were getting Brand New Day levels of stuff from the beginning. I'm for sure not going to complain about that. But there's also a part of me that feels like Brand New Day is elevated because of the place that we started with the Home trilogy. So I'm not going to dog the Home trilogy for doing that legwork to get us to a spot where he's so elevated now. Like, I like the Home trilogy. I really do. I really do. My biggest problem is I didn't feel... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I would say after rewatching this, because mind you, I watched the Home trilogy like before. Well, I actually started with Civil War, like his first appearance, and then I went into all the other films.
Right.
So watching it before Brand New Day, it gave me a new appreciation for the Home trilogy. It also kind of cleared my thoughts on, the trilogy as a whole. Peter Parker's trying to fight for status over simplicity. So he's trying to be revered. But then when he later on realizes how hard that is to be revered, but also still have a private life, he's trying to figure out now how to balance that. So with No Way Home, it hits even harder because now he has to choose between being a hero that people know him for, being revered for that, or going back to being simple Spider-Man with people not knowing exactly who he is.
Right.
Yeah.
I also kind of take it, maybe I need to rewatch Homecoming again before I say something this bold, so I'm not going to just flat out say this is what the movie was trying to get across. But you get a sense even in Homecoming, the only connection he truly has is like Ned and Aunt May.
Yeah.
He doesn't have like a circle of people that understands where he's coming from, especially if you think about it prior to letting Ned in or having Ned learn that he's Spider-Man. He doesn't have anybody he can relate to. Like, he's a kid that's got these powers, and it kind of makes him weird from just like a biological standpoint, but also he already has this social element to him in Homecoming, where his only friend is Ned. They build Legos together at the locker when he shows him the Emperor Palpatine Lego. He's like, oh, we're going to build my new Lego Death Star. The cheerleaders are like, ew. Like, that's Peter's life. So when he's at school, he's an outcast. Out in the world, he's an outcast because he's a teenage superhero. And just like you have that sense of belonging that Tobey Maguire has in Spider-Man 1, like, I kind of want to be one of the popular kids. I want to do this wrestling match so I can afford to buy a car so that I can get Mary Jane and be accepted socially at school. I think Tom's version of that is I live in a universe with other superpowered people. Like, there are Avengers out there. There are other people just like me. So I'm going to keep texting Happy Hogan and Tony Stark because I got a taste of what the life would be like where I'm alongside people that are quote-unquote I don't want to use this word because I don't think he views himself like this necessarily, but some people call him like, "Oh, you're a freak. You can crawl up walls. That's weird." You know, like. But when he's next to Vision and Scarlet Witch and the Avengers, he has a sense of belonging. So much so that later in the film of Homecoming, when Ned's like, "Hey, we have a Spanish quiz," he's like, "Dude, I'm so far beyond high school right now." He's like, "I'm about to get my sense of belonging. I'm Spider-Man, dog. Like, I'm about to meet my people." And soon enough, he learns that it's not all about just that. And there is a sense of responsibility of him, like, not holding on to the suit, right? If you're nothing without the suit, you shouldn't have it. Because he wants so badly just to pour himself into that larger-than-life element that comes with being Spider-Man versus being a kid. You know, I kind of like that. It was a different spin on what we normally get from Spider-Man, and it actually utilizes the fact that he's in a world with other superheroes versus a universe where he's the only superhero on film. Not comparing it to the comics, but comparing it to the other films, you know. So that's what makes Homecoming unique. I don't think we'll ever get another superhero film like that. So, but we're talking about Brand New Day. How'd y'all get me on Homecoming? How'd y'all do that? Homecoming is my top 5, so I agree. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. I can't believe a musician. First of all, it's not a musician. It was Steve Lacy. All right, put some respect on my boy's name. But yeah, he does get some brownie points removed for spoiling Jean Grey. That was kind of crazy, not gonna lie. The reason people say that is because there is no Uncle Ben, and with great power comes great responsibility isn't really there for the most part, and it only comes to play in No Way Home, which I find kind of funny because I remember the entire world screaming, "We don't want Uncle Ben again. We don't want to see him die again." Blah, blah, blah. And then they don't do it in Homecoming, and it's the main source of complaint.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I was of the opinion that skipping over the origin was kind of stupid. When we were going into Tom Holland's trilogy, I was like, dog, I don't mind seeing the origin again. I love Spider-Man's origin. I would love to see what that looks like in the context of the MCU. But majority rules. Most of the general audience was like, we're done seeing the Uncle Ben story, so they didn't do it. And that led to people complaining. Like, you can't really win either way. Anyway, hot take. Toby is the weakest of the big three. I like him. But one, the fan base has made him overrated to me, or for me. And two, I just prefer what Andrew and Tom did. I prefer what Andrew and Tom do in the role of Spider-Man, but I think it's a little undeniable that Toby has the strongest movies in Spider-Man 1 and 2. I think that's what it is. Like, you can't take that away from Toby. Spider-Man 1 and 2 are like masterclass comic book films, and that's why he gets a lot of gas. I still prefer Andrew Garfield in the role to Toby overall, but Andrew's films aren't touching Spider-Man 1 and 2. They're just not. They're not. Like, that's just how I see it, though. So yeah, in a sense, it was Spider-Man, but not the one we were used to before No Way Home. Facts. Ned just put 2 and 2 together, realizing, oh, this is the Peter who's Spider-Man, and he also knows my handshake. Exactly. I don't think that Ned magically remembers who Peter is now. I don't think that's what it is. I know a lot of people are trying to, like, find that loophole of, like, oh, he was magic in No Way Home, so that's how he remembered. I think literally the scene earlier in the movie where MJ slips up and calls Spider-Man Peter, and Ned goes, Spider-Man's name is Peter? That's your alley-oop. I kind of told you, you know, in the movie itself. So I think you're right on that. In a way, like, whenever Peter is with the Avengers, he has his own family, like, community. Exactly. That's how I look to it. Never heard of him till Brand New Day. Never heard of who? Never heard of who? Are you talking about Peter? Like Ned to Peter? I was so happy they didn't do the Uncle Ben death in the origin story because, like, we know what it is, so why redo it again? I personally like origin stories. I'm sorry. Like, I would have liked to see it. I would have liked to see it in the MCU, but they did their own thing, and I've gotten used to it. I've come to terms with what the MCU chose to do with Tom Holland's version of the character, and it works well. Like, I can't complain about it. It's servicing the character. It still feels like Spider-Man, and it all came to a head in Brand New Day. So Ned has the ring on in No Way Home. That's why he opened the portals. Yeah. But to do that, he does have innate magic within him, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not like anybody can just pick up a sling ring and do it. Because even earlier in No Way Home, like when Peter's tampering with the spell and he's like, oh, my friend Ned, he has to remember. And this symbol comes into Strange's hand and he's like, what is a Ned? It's like an inkling that he's a bit more special. Oh, the music, Steve Lacy. Okay, got you. So question, do we think Smart Hulk is completely, absolutely he's completely gone.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely he's gone. Like Banner even
There's no coming
said,
back from
I think
that.
she broke something. He's cooked. He's cooked. We
Yeah.
have proper Hulk here to stay, hopefully, until he's gone. And when I say gone, I think he's going to be like gone this time. I knew about Steve Lacy, but still I think it was funny and also crazy that Jean got spoiled just like that. I got recommended a video that said Steve Lacy spoiled the movie. That was it. There was no context that it was Spider-Man. There was no context of what he spoiled. I just saw that, and that's when I made my announcement that, hey, I'm going off the internet. Like, y'all aren't going to see me till I see this movie. I'm leaving.
Well, he texted me, and I was gonna watch the premiere, but something told me, nah, I probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
Good thing I didn't.
Yeah, no, I'm so glad I skipped out on that. I don't think I've watched a red carpet premiere for Marvel since Age of Ultron. I think it was Age of Ultron. Why is that so hard for me to say? Age of Ultron. Yeah. But, yeah. I listen to metal, that's why I had no clue on Steve Lacy. Yeah, no, he's... I wouldn't say he's like the biggest star in the world, but he's a really notable name. It's a really notable name. And he had that fire song in the credits. Okay.
Yeah. You probably heard his music before, but just didn't know it was him.
Right. Oh, what was that big song he had like back in 2022?
Bad Habits?
Yes, Bad Habits. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one everybody's heard. So what does everyone think of the potato scene? I loved it. I loved it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't think there's anything you can ask me about this movie that I'm going to have like a I didn't like it reaction to it. Because, like, this is Tom Holland's best performance as Peter Parker Spider-Man since Civil War. I think he's been great the entire time. But Civil War was my favorite pocket he went into with that character, and he brought that back here. Like, he had that snarky kind of like confidence about himself, but then outside of the suit, a little more unsure, a little more reserved, a little more, you know. I liked it. I really, but the potato scene I really liked because it showed me that this is the best way I can describe it, right? Walk with me. Director Destin Daniel Cretton helmed this film. I'm not saying he did this, but this is what it felt like to me. I feel like he sat back in a room, right, and watched all these interviews that James Gunn has been doing about DCU and Superman, talking about like, well, the difference between the MCU and the DCU is that the DCU is like more of a fantasy world. You got to think more Game of Thrones and Star Wars. You got to think of that side of things. But Marvel is like the real world with superpowered people. So in the DCU, you can have Green Lantern and Mr. Terrific show up with no explanation, and it just makes sense because that's the universe they inhabit. And then I feel like Spider-Man took what Superman did, but low-key, they did it a bit better. Now, this isn't Superman's fault. It's not Superman's fault at all. No. Because Superman is the first film in that universe. Spider-Man has... How long have we had the MCU? 2008?
2008.
Oh my God. Has it really been like... It hasn't been no 18 years, has it?
Yeah,
it's been 18 years. Okay, so Spider-Man has 18 years of cinematic universe plus the 20-something years of Spider-Man lore from Tobey Maguire to Tom Holland. So it has like 2 cinematic universes to pull from for like lore and character crossovers and stuff like that, right? Mr. Terrific works so well in Superman because you just roll with it. You understand it's a fictional universe that inhabits all these metahumans and they've been around for X amount of years. We've seen the MCU build year by year. We met Yelena years ago. We met Frank Castle in 2015, 2016 on Netflix. We met Mark Ruffalo's Hulk technically in 2008, but in 2012 in the Avengers. So they didn't have to do the legwork to explain who these characters are. What importance do they have to the world? They can literally just pop up and it makes sense. And it doesn't feel like it's hijacking the film at play. Spider-Man Brand New Day is the best utilization of a cinematic universe in a solo film that I think I've ever seen. I literally think that it's utilized the cinematic universe to as much of an effective degree as Avengers 2012 did when we first ever saw those characters join each other. I'm not even playing, bro. I'm not even kidding. I think it utilizes the cinematic universe gracefully. That's huge brownie points for this movie. And it was actually something I went into this movie fearful of. I didn't want a bunch of crossover, but they made it work. They made me love the cinematic universe even more. And y'all can tell me if y'all disagree with this. I think Brand New Day, out of every film and TV show in the multiverse saga, it's low-key the Avengers 1 of the multiverse saga. Because it successfully made this universe feel connected again. Yelena's there, talking to Peter Parker. Frank is here, talking to Peter Parker. Hulk, talking to Peter Parker. Jean Grey setting up the future with the X-Men. What other MCU film post-Endgame has connected the world from all the seeds they've planted post-Endgame? Not a single one. Not even Captain America Brave New World, which the entire film ends with, we need to reassemble the Avengers. How did the Spider-Man movie bring the universe together more than the Captain America movie? And it didn't sacrifice Peter's solo journey.
And I'd even say it touches up on the subtle things too, because I mean, in the movie, there's a poster of Kingpin right there.
There is.
Knowing what we know,
Kingpin.
And Born Again, we know that takes place after. So even that, and then even with Bruce Banner, there's a picture of Scar, and we haven't seen Scar since She-Hulk.
I didn't even see that. I didn't even see that.
Yeah. So they're even tying in the TV show stuff.
That's crazy.
Through this movie.
That is crazy. Yeah. And also, speaking of other characters, I really like Frank in this movie. And since I have been finally watching the Netflix shows, and my only thing of him so far was Daredevil Season 2, so I'm so glad. They did a great job with Frank. Big potato stuff, you ain't lying. Did Yelena really have to be in the movie? Not really, but did she work in some way? Yes, in my opinion. Exactly. That she didn't have to be in the movie at all. But it even thematically makes sense because what was the last movie she appeared in? Thunderbolts. What was that movie about? Mental health, depression, isolation, finding your people. What is this movie about? Isolation, depression, finding your people. She went through the same arc that Peter did, hence why she's telling Peter, you need to find your people because I found mine with the new Avengers. Is that not crazy? That's great. That's great. They found a narrative reason to make it make sense. She's not just showing up like Red Hulk being in Captain America Brave New World to sell tickets. So are we now saying Brand New Day probably takes place after the end of Thunderbolts, but might be before the post-credit scene teasing Fantastic Four? Yeah, I think it's within that pocket of time. End of Thunderbolts before the post-credit scene. No Banner, no girl, only Hulk. Bro. Oh man, we got Hulk back. I can't believe it.
The transition to Hulk is incredible how they did it. I mean,
it's what?
This is the best. The transition.
You said it's what?
It's incredible.
Say that again.
Incredible.
Something my sister was wondering about that I honestly don't have a solid answer for. Where is Pete getting his money to order pizza? What are your thoughts? I'll be honest. I don't think you're asking this as a critique of the film, so don't take this as me like chewing you out for saying that. One, I'll be honest. I don't care. At least for this movie, I do not care. Because the second that you show Peter Parker working a normal job in this film, it completely breaks what the movie's about. What's the movie about? I want to suppress Peter Parker. I am Spider-Man at all times. Yeah. I'm sure he has a job off screen, but showing the time of him working a job within this film has the audience connect to the everyday struggles that Peter Parker goes through from just a human element. Not just a human element, but from like a financial standpoint, which falls way more in line with Peter Parker than Spider-Man, and this film's not about that. So I feel like showing that, to me, would have like taken away from the overall narrative that this film is going for. Because it's not about those struggles, it's about like the human connection and Peter purposefully blocking out the side of him that allows him to let that into his life. But if I had to give an answer as to what I think he is doing, or how he's getting his money to order pizza, no idea. I have no idea. I did see people being like, well, how could he afford all these monitors and stuff? They established that in Civil War. He's a dumpster diver. He flips old technology. He did that way back in his first appearance, so there's no reason to re-explain that if he's been doing it since his first appearance in the MCU. I've seen some people theorize that he takes some of that technology, fixes it up, and flips it online. Maybe that's what he's doing. I don't know. Some other people were saying like, oh yeah, he has a YouTube channel in Civil War and Homecoming. Maybe he's monetized on YouTube and he's vlogging some of his Spider-Man adventures and is getting the AdSense revenue and all that stuff. Again, they don't show it in the movie. It's all going to be speculation. But I'm willing to bet it's something in that ballpark that he's doing to accumulate his funds. So did the post-credit scene basically confirm Tom in Doomsday? I'm going to be honest. This is not the person to be asking about that post-credit scene. I thought it was mid. I thought it didn't need to be in the movie. And I can almost guarantee you they have no idea what that post-credit scene means.
It was very ambiguous.
It was the most, I've been saying this since I saw the movie. It was the most, here, damn, post-credit scene I've ever seen in my life. Like, it feels like Destin Daniel Cretton did not want to put a post-credit scene in this movie. He just wanted to let the movie speak for itself. And Marvel was like, yo, we need a post-credit scene to tease the future. And he was like, well, damn, here, shoot. You happy now?
Yeah.
Like, that's what it felt like. I don't know if it really means much of anything. We'll find out. I'm not too intrigued by it, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
I'm not gonna lie though.
Yeah.
When I first seen it, I thought it was gonna be Miles, and the reason why I say that is because the glitching of the Spidey tracker.
Yeah.
And it instantly made me think of Miles. But then I'm like, would they really do that?
I'll tell you.
I don't think so.
I would hate. This is just me. I would hate the MCU to introduce Miles through the multiverse. Reason being, they set up Aaron Davis back in Homecoming. And low-key, if you introduced Miles through multiversal means, you'd low-key be doing what the Doctor Strange post-credit scene did. What was his name? Baron Mordo?
Yeah.
What they did with him, why did I ask? I know that's his name. When they did that with him in the post-credit scene of Doctor Strange 1 where he's turning evil, then in the sequel, a multiverse version of him comes through and they act like that's the payoff. It's like, no, the 616 version of Baron Mordo is still out there and we don't know what he's doing. He's just out there killing people. So it would be weird to have Homecoming set up Aaron Davis talking about like, I don't want these weapons in this city. I got a nephew that lives here. And then Miles comes from the multiverse. So now we have two Miles in the MCU, one that becomes Spider-Man from a different universe and one who's been here since Homecoming, but he's just a regular guy. Like, no, I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't want that. Curious if the MCU will ever do a Grey Hulk. If they were going to do it, this would have been the movie to do it in. I'm not going to say they'll never do it, but at this rate, I don't need it. I don't need it.
Yeah.
Honestly, that scene with Tom just swinging in the city after seeing MJ with that boy, which I'm now saying it's Paul, and cutting to the flashbacks, like so sad, but also such a good shot. See, yeah, it was shot beautifully. A lot of this movie reminded me of the Batman.
I don't even know you. Oh. Man, when she said that,
love you. I don't even know who you are. What?
I was like, damn.
I don't even know you. Disgusting. And what Jean did on the roof, oh Lord, crazy work. Yeah. I mean, in your opinion, did it confirm? I think it was weird nonetheless. He's got to be in secret. I don't have an opinion on it. Like, I genuinely don't. Like, I don't even understand what the post-credit scene was trying to communicate to me. I just assumed it had a decent amount of money for some stuff. Yeah, yeah. But no, I have no idea. I think if anything, it would be Secret Wars. I don't see him showing up in Doomsday. I really don't.
Yeah.
Maybe Toby is in Doomsday, but I don't see Tom being in Doomsday. I think it might be Toby in the credit scene since he might be in Doomsday. There you go. Ouch. Go ahead, Peter. Touch her. Like, girl, you crazy for that? That was nasty work. There's so much more I wanted to talk about. The scene at the end after Punisher shoots Peter and he's staying at the hospital with him. I've seen some people, not a lot of people, just a few people critique that scene thinking it was too cheesy. Most people love that scene. But the reason that it works for me, and I mentioned this to Jace, I feel like that was the first time since season 2 of Daredevil, or post Frank losing his family, that he displayed what kind of a father he was before he became the Punisher. Because if I'm not mistaken, a lot of the conversations he had with Karen would learn about his past and be like, you know, I can't imagine you being the type of guy that would do this or do that. And she's right. When you watch his Punisher, you're like, I don't see him like going on road trips with his family, listening to pop music and all that. Like, I don't see Punisher doing that.
Yeah.
But the scene in the hospital, what he does for Peter shows to me that that guy that was lost long ago is buried in there somewhere. And it took Peter to bring that out. Frank puts that mask on. He goes to the window. People are cheering him on. Little do they know it's the Punisher, but it's the Punisher's first time feeling acceptance and love from the city. Meanwhile, Peter goes out. Amongst the people, everybody's looking by him, but he gets to soak up all the adoration with the people instead of standing above them. Peak! I feel like Frank will have a soft spot for kids and young heroes, especially with Peter after what happened with his kids. I think he kind of will, but at the same time, you got to think about what was he about to do to Jean?
Yeah.
You know, like he was ready to end it all for her, so I don't know. We'll see. This is my first time catching your live stream. Well, welcome in. We were talking full spoilers about Spider-Man Brand New Day, so if you've not seen the movie, tread carefully. Y'all got a long-ass theory for I got a long-ass theory for Spider-Man 5. You want to hear it? Go ahead, drop it. There's just so much that happened in this film. Jean DeWolf?
Yes.
Jean DeWolf? I pitched what I think they should do for Spider-Man 5. I might make a video on that. I might save it. I don't know if I should pitch it right now and stream. I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, it was a good pitch.
Yeah, he heard it.
What we talked about.
He heard it. This chair. I'm so sick of this chair. Shut up. Plus, Jean Grey, Sadie freaking killed. She did. She really did, especially in that second half. Oh my God, the flashbacks to Spider-Man Homecoming, bruh. I'm not gonna lie. As much as I love Homecoming, and this isn't even a Homecoming problem, it's more of a Far From Home problem. I hated that they set up the ending of Homecoming being May finding out that Peter's Spider-Man, just for the next film to cut to her accepting it and cheering him on and being like, hey, did you pack your suit? I'm like, dog, I thought we were going to get a conversation. I was so excited to see that conversation, but I get it. We had Infinity War and Endgame between the two movies, so that conversation had to happen sometime before those movies happened, and we just never circled back to it. Now, I think it should have been on Far From Home to flash back and show us what that conversation was. But it's low-key kind of fire. They saved it for this one. I'm not gonna lie. It makes that scene work even more knowing that May's gone. Because now you can go back and watch the start of the trilogy and be like, oh, so that's why she's rooting for him so much in Far From Home. That's fire. Oh, my God, bro. Mm-hmm. Oh, my God.
And how they did it, and they had it seem like she was talking to Jean.
Yeah.
And then
Peter comes in for the cherry on top.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily need or want this before. Y'all gotta put Peter Parker in an X-Men movie now, bro. You cannot you cannot have Jean say, I have no one. And then Peter say, you got me. And not pay that off. If they never share the screen together again, Peter's gonna look like an absolute fraud. He's gonna be back on Fraud Watch. He was on Fraud Watch during Daredevil Born Again. Then he got out after Brand New Day. If he does not follow through with his promise to be there for Jean, bro is cooked. Not gonna lie. Kind of a bum. I genuinely just want a Fantastic Four Spidey movie just because my freaking favorite team up in Marvel. That'd be dope. I don't even necessarily need a whole movie. You know what? Okay, I'll tell you part of my pitch. Part of my pitch was in Spider-Man 5, the Fantastic Four act in Spider-Man 5 the same way that Hulk acted in Brand New Day. Couple of scenes, he goes to the Baxter building and is trying to get some like research done with Reed Richards about how the symbiote is dealing with his body, because I still think there's a chance that he's been bonded with the symbiote and it's going to be a late stage reveal. I think that's how you do it. You have him go to the Fantastic Four, leave a sample for Reed. He starts doing his little thing. Peter comes back, gets the results. Hey, this is an alien being. You got to be careful. Oh, don't take that from me. Maybe he has to fight the Fantastic Four in the Baxter building. They all have to take him down and they get bodied. And that's like his wake-up call, similar to how he slapped MJ in Spider-Man 3. And he's like, what am I doing? What's happening? I don't know. There's a lot you can do. But I do want to see those two properties cross over. That needs to happen. Okay. Seen it last week. It's so good. It's one of my favorite Spider-Man films. I like the May flashback. So did I. So good. Brand New Day was epic. Yeah. I hope him and Jean are on the screen again as well. They have to follow that through. Just like you said, you cannot have that line and not pay it off. Can't do it. Like, I love this movie, but my nitpick is, man, I wish we got Matt in this movie in some way. Nope. I told everybody. Matt Murdock is not in this film, bro. I told everybody. Everybody said I was crazy. But the reason I didn't want him in this movie is because we just had him in No Way Home, right? And if he were to show up in this film, it would have been for something super small. And I think the more appearances that you get of Matt in the Spider-Man films, the less likely it'll be that he has a larger supporting role down the road, right? If he had a fight scene in this one, I think Sony and Marvel would have had the mindset of like, hey, they teamed up. No reason to do a team-up movie. So that's why I think they had so many moving parts in this film that the next movie, the team-up hero isn't Frank, but it's Matt. And if it's Matt, Peter gets the black suit. What suit does he wear in the Death of Jean DeWolf storyline? The black suit. Who's the guest star Marvel hero in the Death of Jean DeWolf comic? It's Daredevil. What's another famous storyline that he wears the black suit at some point? Kraven's Last Hunt. Kraven can be your main villain. So I think it's smart they didn't use Matt. I think it's smart. Delay that.
I think it's going to happen, though. At some point, it will happen, because that's something people have wanted to see for years. So
absolutely.
It's going to happen. It's just got to be at the
only thing you
right
run into
time.
at that point is, like, who's the team up for Part 3 or Spider-Man 6? Which I guess at that point, all we really have left that people are really dying to see are Daredevil and the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
So I guess there's your answer. It would be after Secret Wars. I think it'll be Peter dealing with the black suit and getting back in the swing of being friends with Ned again, but trying to be that isn't the same as before. Exactly. We're right here. Especially given the fact that MJ did not break up with her boyfriend and Ned is friends with him. Nasty work. Like from the trailer when Pete was fighting the Hand, I legit thought it was the prison that Matt was in at the end of Born Again Season 2 that would team up and Matt could escape, but doesn't. Well, would you really want Matt to escape prison in a Spider-Man movie? Or would you rather that happen in his show? You know? Like, I don't want the movies to hijack the TV shows too much, and I don't want the shows to hijack the movies too much. I think something that crucial needs to happen in his own show. Similarly, I think Matt being there would have diluted the evolution of Spider-Man's powers because it signals that he needs help with the Hand. And it's like, bro, you've been Spider-Man solo dolo for like the past 4 or 5 years, really honing your craft without the help of the Avengers. I don't think you need Daredevil to take down the Hand. I think you got it, especially since he did it 4 years prior.
Yeah.
Or within that 4-year time span. I don't think it would have worked. Part 2, Death of Jean DeWolf. Spidey teams up with the Punisher again, but this time with Daredevil as well as the Sin Eater as the main villain. Shocker returns. Yes, Ends of the Earth reference. We need that reference. But I don't know if they're going to do Sin Eater. I think they would use Scorpion, or you introduce a Kraven. I don't think they're going to do Sin Eater for that storyline. The MCU's always changing stuff. Even, TASM 2. They had Harry be the one to kill Gwen instead of Norman. So I think they would make a change. Yeah, I love that idea. I think they should do a Spider-Man X-Men team up similar to Spider-Man 90s animated series somewhere down the road. Yeah, and I think it would be more important for Spidey to show up in an X-Men film versus the X-Men being his movie. Just again, because I mean, Peter Parker is the low-key MCU Oppenheimer in this film. He's part of the reason that they're going to have those mutant dampening collars. Peter helped develop that technology. So having his name permeate through an X-Men film, especially, I've been saying, imagine Magneto finds out who created those collars and he finds Peter Parker in an X-Men film. Oof. Oh my God. Oh my God. Now, obviously, Peter didn't mean for it to be used that way, but still. Like, able to get the team up while not affecting the events of Born Again. I get that, but damn it would have been so cool, though. Still hope we get it. We'll see. We'll see. That's a good theory. Thank you. Part 3, another montage with the villains. Being Puma, 8-Ball, Wall, and Cat Burglar, Meteor, and maybe even Tarantula again as a gag. Black Cat introduced for a love triangle. Now is the time to bring in Black Cat. Now is the time to do it.
Yes.
Peter and MJ did not repair their relationship in this movie. The door is wide open. See, part 4, speaking of MJ and Peter get together, but like how they did it with Ned, but it involves her current boyfriend drama. Big final battle is Spider-Man consumed by anger versus Daredevil and Punisher. I don't know if they'll bring Punisher back. I wouldn't be against it. But I don't know if they will. But I do like that idea a lot. I really do. And finally, a post-credits teasing Matt Gargan as Venom and maybe even teasing a new Eddie Brock. Doing Mac and Eddie would be a bit much. I think you need to do Eddie much later. I don't think you tease them both at the same time. But who knows? Who knows? So what lesser-known villains would fit in the future Spider-Man films? I mean, not lesser-known necessarily, but Kraven. I think you got to do Kraven before this trilogy's over.
I would love a Craven and Chameleon team up.
Chameleon. I hate that they did that Kraven movie though, because it makes it feel less likely they're gonna do it. Shoot, man. All roads lead to Venom. Like Michael Mando's talking about it way too much. We're getting Venom. I'm pretty sure. But I want to see Kraven. I really want to see Kraven. Rhino. They can definitely redo Rhino.
Yeah.
100%. Like, I feel like we might not get Gwen or Harry, or maybe not even Felicia. Maybe we'll get Eddie. I did want some of the more traditional side characters, but Brand New Day really made it work. We'll see, though. We'll see. It's not out of the cards yet.
My buddy Carson, I don't know if he's still in here, but he had the theory, the blonde-haired girl that was his neighbor.
Yeah.
That could be Black Cat.
Yeah, maybe. Probably not, if we're being... I think the most credible theory is that Cindy and Banner's class was Cindy Moon. I think that's the most credible theory that I've seen, because at least they said her name. So you have a little bit of wiggle room to believe that. You know, like I know the joke about not every black guy is Miles, not every blonde girl is Gwen, and it's true. Not every Asian woman is Cindy, but they called her Cindy.
Yeah.
So maybe that was a little Easter egg. Maybe it doesn't go anywhere. Maybe it was a coincidence. I don't know.
I believe there was another Cindy. Was it Homecoming?
Now, I remember that. Did they ever call her Cindy in the movie, though? Because I thought the same thing, too. But I don't remember if they called her by her name in the actual film. I chose Sin Eater because it would be cool to get a whodunit story in a Spider-Man movie. It would be, but the problem with it is, like, in order to make a whodunit work, you have to care about the reveal. And I don't know if we're going to have enough time to, like, properly set up Sin Eater in one movie for us to care when it's revealed, but could be wrong. We'll see how they do it. Plus, this movie has some whodunit elements, or was supposed to, with the whole Jean Grey reveal. Like, it was kind of like, who's controlling all these people? That's kind of what this movie was already trying to do before it got spoiled. So I don't know if they'll try to do something like that again. But we'll see. Surprised you took the time to read that theory. I appreciate that. Well, I appreciate y'all, of course. I'm going to try to get to all y'all's comments, so I'm not just going to let them go out there like a fart in the wind. We need an actual good Rhino since Tasm. You're not lying. I think there's a rule that the MCU can't use villains Sony used in live action except Venom. I don't think that's a rule. I don't think it's like a written rule in the contract. I think it's just a Kevin Feige thing. Because he said like he didn't want to use repeats of like Doc Ock and Goblin unless it was Willem Dafoe and Alfred Molina. So they used them. It's just that Feige doesn't like to repeat characters. Maybe it's in the contract and I'm wrong about that, but that's how I always took it personally. What about Chameleon? He's overdue a movie appearance. That's the thing, Kira. They had Chameleon in freaking Raven. Why did they do that, bro? They wasted him. I want to see Mr. You're right, Mr. Negative. He was one that I really want to see, but in the same breath, do we save him for Miles? But at the same time, Tom needs his own.
It's interesting.
He needs his own villains too, so we'll see. Like after the first Spider-Man game, I want to see him in the future. Hi, Geekly and Company. What's up, CH? So sorry for being gone. A lot has been happening IRL, but I still wanted to tune in. Welcome. We got the #1 Spider-Man Homecoming hater, then flipped to actually kind of liking the movie representative in the chat. I'm sorry. I just had to do that real quick. I'm not pulling your leg on it. You're entitled to your own opinion. It's good hearing from you. I missed you, buddy. Oh, no, it's true. Plus, I will say that Brand New Days finally sold me on Holland. I will say it here and now. I think he finally got the sauce. He had the sauce. He's had the sauce. He's had the sauce. He's had it. Go watch Civil War. He's had the sauce. After this movie, Tom is now my third favorite Spidey. Now 1 is still Andrew, 2 being Yuri. Again, you blend them all together. I don't know if I can say like who's my #1 definitive Spider-Man out of animation games. Live. I can't do that. I got to section them off. For live action, it was Andrew before Brand New Day. I got to see Brand New Day a couple more times to see if Tom snatched that crown, but I got a sneaking suspicion. We'll see. In my opinion, Tom Holland had sauce during Civil War, especially No Way Home. He survived a freaking train in Far From Home. Facts. Don't become a dad,
Yeah.
Tom. Do it with those things on until you're Spider-Man 100. That is crazy. Don't have a kid. Just be our entertainment. CH, we're going to sit you down in a call and watch the Holland films again. We need to do that. Oh, and also, since it's also on the screen, can we talk about the best suit since TASM 2? I'd say this suit is better. I'm not going to lie. TASM 2 had my favorite live-action Spider-Man suit. I think this one took it.
Yeah.
There's so much squeaking and creaking and all that stuff as I'm moving, and it's getting on my nerves. But I think that suit was great. I think the suit was incredible. I agree. The brand new day suit is peak. It sure is. Y'all gotta understand. Name your favorite superhero. It means nothing to me. They're not Spider-Man. They're not Spider-Man. I'm sorry. Like, have you seen this much emotion? A solo hero dethroning Avengers Endgame at the box office all by himself. Is that not crazy?
Yep.
And the best part about it, can y'all name another franchise? All y'all Batman lovers, I'm sorry. I like Batman too. Y'all know I be dookie on Batman. It's like a little joke, a little gag. I'm sorry. Real quick, I don't know. I like everything about it, but TASM 2 suit's eyes are more to my liking. But other than that, the brand new day suit is pretty up there. I'm not going to keep glazing the TASM. I'm sorry, I'm joking. Look, I still love the TASM 2 suit, but this one takes it. This is just straight up Spider-Man, bro. It is. Like, don't get me wrong. I think the the brand new day Spider logo could go up a little bit more, but the one detracting detail from the TASM 2 suit for me was that the spider is damn near on his stomach. That's like the only flaw. Yeah. And this one has the moving eyes. I think the colors are a little bit better, and the spider doesn't piss me off as much. And because of those three things, I have to put it above it. It's not like it's bodying the TASM 2 suit, but I do think it's better. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Spider-Man snatched the crown. He absolutely snatched the crown. And here's why they did it. Because I don't think a lot of people are realizing how incredible of a franchise Spider-Man is. Think about it this way. A lot of people like to look at it as the Tobey Maguire trilogy, the Andrew Garfield duology, and the Tom Holland series of films, or the MCU and the Sonyverse. It's none of that. It's none of that. Tom Holland's Spider-Man has gone back in time and made all of the Spider-Man films canon. Now, keep in mind, we knew this back in No Way Home, but Brand New Day makes it even more impressive because we have lines where he's like on the roof discovering his organic webbing, like, oh, Peter too had it. He was a cool dude. That was the line that really cemented in my brain that, oh my God, Sony? I don't think they intentionally did this. I'm not going to say like they're mad geniuses, but by accident, they're mad geniuses. They ended up winning in the end. Remember back when Andrew Garfield was Spider-Man and they were trying to build this Spider-Man cinematic universe? Guess what? They did it.
Yep.
They did it. That scene on the roof in Brand New Day showed to me, wow. Not only did Sony get their way and make a Spider-Man cinematic universe that ties Tobey's lore into Andrew's lore, into Tom's lore, but because of Tom, Sony gets to reap all the benefits of the MCU as well. All of that leading to the biggest opening weekend box office domestically in history. Is that not nasty work? Is that not nasty work? So technically, you can say the Spider-Man film franchise has been running not from 2002 to 2007, that it started back in 2012 to 2014. No. Now, technically, it's been from 2002 all the way to present day. All of it's canon now. All of it's fair game, and all of it leads into the narrative and the journey that Tom Holland is on, and that's going to continue on with Miles. Meaning Miles, all the lessons that he learns from Tom's Peter are lessons that he learned from Andrew or lessons that he learned from Tobey. Which all are lessons that they learned from who? Uncle Ben. So you can't say Tom didn't learn anything from Uncle Ben. He did through the multiverse. Is that not disgustingly crazy? It also makes more sense now that he didn't go through the Uncle Ben thing, because if Tobey and Andrew are canon, that gives them all the more reason to make the story different for Tom. Because now if you're going to go sit down and watch all the Spider-Man movies in order, you would have been forced to see Uncle Ben's story done 3 times. So low key, the Spider-Man franchise on its own, and I said this to Jace, could pull out of the MCU tomorrow and it would be completely fine, because it has lore and storylines that are woven and interconnected through the multiverse all the way back to 2002. You can't undo the fact that Tom knows Andrew and Tobey now. You can't. And all of the generations of fans that used to fight each other pre No Way Home are unified now. That's why this movie did what it did. Because everybody loved No Way Home, and now everybody's rooting for Tom. Nobody's really against him because they did the legwork to have Toby and Andrew boost him up. The Brand New Day suit is perfect. Would be perfect for me if it had the classic backlight. You know what, Cameron? I'll give you that. I actually agree. Y'all see the back? I like the back spider. I did want the Homecoming back spider to come back for this suit, but it's not enough. It's not enough to drag it below TASM 2 for me. I still think it's a perfect suit. I agree with you. I think the classic back logo would have been fire. I completely agree.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that, because I almost forgot to say that. And literally, the suit was inspired by his Spider Bros. Exactly. In canon, it was. I will give this to John Watts. The success of Brand New Day box office wouldn't have been possible without the brand he built with those first 3 MCU films and kids growing up with him. Exactly. People love to drag John Watts, but it's like, low-key, you can't say that this isn't a fact. John Watts' Spider-Man trilogy saved Spider-Man. It did. As much as I love Andrew, TASM 2 was a box office flop, critical flop, that almost killed the Spider-Man brand in pop culture. It flopped while the MCU was thriving. Tell me why Captain America and Guardians of the Galaxy were 2 of the most successful films of 2014, and people were dogging on Spider-Man the GOAT. That should never happen. It shouldn't. So when Homecoming came out, it started the legwork to get it more and more popular. We went from Homecoming to Far From Home being the first billion-dollar Spider-Man movie, to $2 billion in No Way Home, to Brand New Day coming in and being the highest-grossing opening weekend of all time. You got to give some coins to John Watts. You have to. Yeah. So you're absolutely right. Spider-Man beat Endgame's record. Insane work. It is. Not even Batman could do that. And you know people love Batman.
Yeah.
Spider-Man in one weekend beat the entire theatrical run of Robert Pattinson's Batman movie. The entire run!
And reports are saying 2 million by the end of this weekend.
2 billion by the end of this weekend. Oh, keep in mind, it did that opening weekend box office without IMAX. Okay, Tom learning responsibilities through Uncle Ben, through technically other Peter's uncles, is a bit too far of a cop out to my liking, respectfully. Not saying they need to do the whole origin again, but the fact that Tom never acknowledged having an Uncle Ben at all kind of takes something fundamental about Peter Parker to me. The Insomniac games did this perfectly. No, that's you being way, way, way too purist about it. I'll be completely honest. You don't like Spider-Man because of Uncle Ben. You don't even like Uncle Ben as a character. I'm willing to wage $50 you do not care about Uncle Ben as a character. I am. Because the Insomniac games, we never even saw him. We saw a picture of him. I think you just like the comfortability that's the story you've always been used to. What we care about Spider-Man is the lessons that he learns after losing Uncle Ben. Not necessarily Ben himself. They gave all of that to May. And literally the rooftop scene is not a cop-out. If the whole point of the scene is he is ready to let the villains go back and be Toby and Andrew's problems, what does Toby tell him? I lost Uncle Ben. What does Andrew say? I lost Gwen. And then Peter's about to cry like, I want to kill him. I want to tear him apart. You know, the last thing she said to me was, with great power, who finishes the sentence? Toby. Comes great responsibility. Wait, how do you know that? Mm-hmm. Uncle Ben said it. Andrew says that the day he died. Maybe she didn't die for nothing, Peter. That shows to me Peter heard what May said, and Andrew and Toby's Uncle Ben's instilling that in them and confirming what May says acts as further confirmation that that's the motto he needs to live by, right? Mm-hmm. If you are doing a third reboot of a character since 2002, you know people are going to get sick of that. I'm the exception. I know I'm not going to get tired of seeing the origin story, but I have to understand for general audiences, they're sick of the Uncle Ben thing. So they did something new, but to appease the purists, Tom still got his great power comes great responsibility lesson reinforced by 2 separate Uncle Bens. The whole point of Spider-Verse talks about canon events and how each Spider-Man learns through the loss of Uncle Ben. Even Tom, whether he had one or not, still in No Way Home, learned through the teachings of Uncle Ben because his lessons transcend the multiverse. It gives greater importance to the philosophy that Uncle Ben spread to Peter in 2002, even without him having a physical presence in the MCU. So I don't know how anybody can be upset with that when at its core, it doesn't just solely strip Uncle Ben from Tom's Peter, but it makes him this almost like Jedi Force ghost in the MCU. You know what I mean? Like even like the further you go into the lore of Star Wars, they learn teachings from older Jedi that they didn't necessarily meet, like how Black Panther can talk to his ancestors through the ancestral plane, or the Avatar can speak to the previous avatars through the Avatar state. Tom's Peter learned and got reinforced with great power comes great responsibility. He might have heard the phrase from May, but it was reinforced and doubled down by Uncle Ben teaching Andrew and Toby.
Yeah.
Is that not crazy? And this is the film that takes place during the multiverse saga, so you can't say that there's no narrative importance to it being told that way. Is Unc cooking a little bit? I don't know. Maybe I'm preaching a little bit. I don't know. But I think there's a deeper message in that scene beyond it just being cool. He did in Homecoming, like Peter said to Ned, if Aunt May found out what I'm doing, especially after what happened, they did. They just didn't dig into it deeper than that. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man shows Uncle Ben was in the MCU alternative universe, but still parallel to the main MCU timeline and the suitcase in Far From Home. Yeah, like there are nods that he existed. We don't know what role he played in Peter's life necessarily, but again, I don't think that matters as much anymore because clearly Brand New Day is reinforcing that Aunt May is doing that. And again, if you just needed to be Uncle Ben, No Way Home. So it gives you both. But yeah, I think that's about it in terms of Brand New Day. I love the movie. I think everybody needs to see it. I'm going to go see it again, at least 2 to 3 more times. That was a good talk. That was a really good talk.